this is a big issue because there
Well,
was
I'm thinking
a
of two
riding.
stories that fit into this, but let's go with the election one first. Absolutely.
Yeah, so
Which one are you
there's a
thinking?
riding. Well, there's a riding in Quebec that was going to go
Yes.
Bloc Québécois, and then they
Yes.
did a recount, and then then it came back that it was Carney's Liberals that won, but they won by only one vote. One single vote won this riding, giving the Liberals 170 seats in the House of Commons.
There's a lot to unpack here. Like I want to unpack this one. First off, let's start with the recount. In this recount, they not only did they recount, but they found missing ballots. Okay. Like it's okay if they counted and said, we counted 200 at first and then we recounted and there's 201. That's fine. I get that. But when you recount and you find like, oh, look, we also found this box of missing ballots. I'm like, wow, okay. That's the first shitty part. And yeah, there it is. Like they found how many ballots more? Like it was
11. They found 11 new
more
ballots.
Yeah,
but then what was this? The stats are here. So the remanded put this out there. Notice 3. So May 1st, the total. So where is it? The calculations are. So they reconsidered a total of 63 ballots, plus amazingly added 11 ballots from where I don't know. Yeah. Where lost in translation, lost and found again, like the 822 in Coquitlam ? Yeah, it's real, just like shady. What's going on in Quebec?
So at the end, look at that, folks. Like on the image on the right, Liberals 23,352, Bloc Québécois 23,351. Okay, so let's stay there for a second. So it flips to one vote. So the Liberals win by one vote. Okay, so one riding flips, and what happens when that riding flips? It almost gives Carney a majority, like almost, because now
he's off by 2. He's off by 2.
He's off by 2. So that's the first step. Now, did you see what happened to this story yesterday? So speaking of those mysterious ballots, some lady in Quebec has an unopened letter that she got a special ballot. She filled it out before the election. She mailed it to Elections Canada. Elections Canada send it back to her, or Canada Post send it back to her undeliverable. Okay, they couldn't deliver it to Elections Canada. Yeah, show her envelope. Don't show the story, but show her. Do you have her envelope? I'm sure it's down there. Anyways,
it's during the story. So yeah, she puts it on the table.
Some people there. Stop it there. Okay. So underneath there, the envelope, the it looks like a sticker with the address that says Elections Canada. It's got the wrong address. Okay, it's got the wrong address to the Elections Canada office. She didn't put that sticker on there. She's using a self-addressed envelope that was provided to her by Elections Canada. So Elections Canada gave her an envelope with the wrong address. Not just her, but everybody who got a mail-in ballot in this riding got the wrong address. Now, and Elections Canada is aware of this one and several others like it, and they're like, well, it's too bad. We're still not adding them to the recount. Like,
how?
How exactly? Like how? Like this is nuts, man. Like it's postmarked the right time. It's dated. She did everything by the book. She sent it in. They gave her the wrong address.
Well, because they're happy with the results now. That's what it is, Marty. Marty, come on.
It's they're lying, like Carney and the Liberals, and not just Carney and the Liberals, like more and more like politicians and bureaucrats and people, judges, are literally thumbing their noses at us, and they're bluntly lying in front of us or doing something crooked, and they're not even worried. Like but back to your point. So I hope the Bloc Québécois does something. I hope they launch a lawsuit. I don't know. Like I know if I was the candidate, I'd be furious. But I hate to say this, behind the scenes, some of the people say, why aren't they fighting harder? Because that that candidate for the Bloc Québécois who just lost probably got a. I'm making up. I'm stipulating here, but maybe somebody from the Liberals knocked on their door and said, "Hey, listen, why are you fighting this? Here's $20,000, whatever." Like, and people go, "Marty, it doesn't work that way."
Oh, does it not work that way?
That's exactly how it works. Like, I don't know.
This is the thing. I love to bring this up because people will say like, oh, this other country in the world super corrupt and all these other places are corrupt. I was talking with this with a guy I used to do business with this week. I met up with him and he was like, yeah, well, if things get worse, you can always go to, I don't know, the Philippines or this place or that place. He's familiar with the Philippines because he's been there a bunch. And he's like, and we were talking about it. And it came to the conclusion, like both places are equally as corrupt. The difference between Canada and the Philippines is you have access to the corruption. That's just a normal person. Whereas you're in Canada, you're just average person. You got no access to the corruption. But in the Philippines, if you're there, and sorry for any Filipinos out there, I'm not trying to be specifically beaten on your country, but corrupt countries out elsewhere in the world where you have access to the corruption. Yeah, the regulators come over. They're like, we don't want you building a thing. You're just like grease palms and okay, you're fine. You're trying to build that thing. That's just how it works. It's funny though.
Yeah. So just on that story, just bring up the other image that you at the top of my timeline on Twitter, the other one with the blue and the red little dots there. The other graph that I have, that one. Okay, so the thing that happened in Quebec caused me. I decided to do some investigating. So I downloaded the Elections Canada results for this year's election, and I sorted all the writings. I did the math to figure out how many ballots had been rejected in each writing, and I did it as a percentage. Okay, what percentage? And then I sorted them all from the writing with the highest number of rejected ballots down to the lowest, and then I was going through the list. I was like, "Holy shit! This is how I work, folks. I do math. I do some analysis, and then I let the data tell me something, right?" And so the top 39 writings with rejected ballots were in Quebec, and then finally number 40 was in Manitoba. And then I'm like, okay, this is fascinating. So then I plotted them on this scale here, like 1 to 343. These are all the writings plotted from west to east, kind of like I tried to duplicate the geography of Canada, right? Okay. So look at the blue dots. Those are all the writings in Quebec. So the number of rejected ballots in Quebec is like 2 to 3%. It's one order of magnitude higher than the rest of the country.
That's insane.
It's insane. And so, and then somebody says, what was the previous year? So I looked at the last election in 2021, and those are the little gray dots in the back, and they're just as bad. And people are like, what's going on with Quebec? I'm like, well, I have 3 theories. One is they don't know how to complete a ballot. Maybe, I don't know.
They don't have to mark a circle.
Number two, somebody said that this is potentially true. They have a history of spoiling their ballots because they're pissed off. So they don't like any of the candidates, especially in a federal election. They're separatists, and there's always a core group that just spoils their ballots. That's a valid one. But somebody else said no. It's probably a bit of corruption and internal tampering, because it's the same people that they're being a returning officer for the elections is almost a job. It's not like volunteer work that you do year after year. It's the same group of corrupt people. And then, earlier we were talking about instant feedback that you and I get from the questions here. I started asking people for instant feedback on what's going on in Quebec, and I had, hundreds of stories. People were sending me stories about their time being election return officers and how corrupt it is. I'm like, oh, okay, thank you. You're confirming one of my theories. It's like election tampering. Elections are a blood sport in Quebec. It's just we here in Alberta, you guys in BC. Well, actually, this last provincial one in BC, you guys look like you had a lot of tampering. Like it's
that was wacky. But the federal election didn't feel wacky at all. It felt great. I went in, it was paper ballots. I made my mark. It was folded a particular way. The ballot went in. That was it. It was very simple.
Yeah.
And there was no like, you can't use a pen, you have to use a pencil. None of that. There was a pen and a pencil available. I could use what I wanted. That's what they put there. So I mean, there was no funny business. Thanks for tuning in. This is actually a smaller clip from a larger conversation that took place on the channel. If you want to check that out, the link will be in the description down below. We'll see you in the next one. Keep on trucking.